There is a quiet force shaping every moment of your life, and most people spend their entire lives searching for it everywhere except the one place it has always existed. They look for it in circumstances, in opportunities, in luck, in other people, in the economy, in education, and in endless strategies. They believe that if only something outside of them would change, then their lives would finally begin to transform. But what if everything you have believed about the source of change has been backward? What if the invisible world within you has always been writing the script that the visible world faithfully performs? The greatest secret is not hidden in some distant mountain, locked away in an ancient temple, or reserved for a chosen few. It is operating right now within your own consciousness. Whether you recognize it or not, you are constantly assuming something about yourself. You assume whether you are worthy or unworthy. You assume whether life is generous or unfair. You assume whether success belongs to you or belongs to someone else. You assume whether love comes easily or whether it always slips through your fingers. These assumptions are so familiar that you rarely question them. You simply call them reality. But reality has an unusual habit. It quietly arranges itself around the assumptions you consistently accept as true. Think about the stories people repeat every single day. Nothing ever works out for me. I never have enough money. People always disappoint me. I can never catch a break. Notice how these are not merely observations. They are declarations. They are assumptions accepted with emotion, repeated with conviction, and reinforced through habit. Every repetition deepens the impression until the individual cannot distinguish between an assumption and an undeniable fact. Then another person enters the same world with completely different assumptions. They expect opportunities. They naturally believe they are respected. They move with the quiet certainty that solutions exist even before problems appear. They are not free from challenges, but somehow challenges become stepping stones instead of barriers. The difference is not that one person possesses magical powers while the other does not. The difference lies in what each one has accepted as true about life. Your assumptions are not passive thoughts floating through your mind. They are seeds planted into the fertile soil of consciousness. Every seed eventually grows according to its own nature. If you plant fear, you nourish fear. If you plant confidence, confidence begins to express itself through unexpected channels. If you assume abundance, your mind starts recognizing possibilities that were invisible before. If you assume limitation, even open doors begin to look like walls. The world reflects what consciousness consistently entertains. Many people misunderstand this principle because they imagine it requires endless effort. They believe they must force reality to obey their wishes. But force has very little to do with genuine transformation. The deepest changes occur through acceptance rather than struggle. The moment an assumption becomes natural, it begins to shape perception, behavior, expectation, and eventually experience. Consider a person learning to ride a bicycle. At first, they assume they will fall. Their body becomes tense, their movements uncertain, and the expectation of failure creates instability. Then gradually confidence develops. Nothing outside has changed except one powerful assumption. I can do this. Suddenly, balance appears almost effortlessly. The body follows the conviction held within. Life often works the same way. Every achievement first exists as an unseen assumption. Every invention began with someone assuming it could be created. Every meaningful relationship began with someone assuming connection was possible. Every great transformation started long before the visible evidence appeared. Yet most people wait for evidence before changing their assumptions. They say, when I become successful, I will believe in myself. When someone loves me, I will feel worthy. When I receive the opportunity, I will act confidently. But this reverses the order of creation. Confidence comes before success. Worthiness comes before recognition. Expectation comes before manifestation. The inner state leads, and the outer world follows. Imagine standing before a mirror while demanding that your reflection smile first. You could stand there forever waiting. The mirror only responds after you move. Reality behaves much like that mirror. It faithfully reflects the image impressed upon consciousness. This does not mean every passing thought instantly becomes reality. If that were true, human existence would be chaotic beyond imagination. Fleeting thoughts pass through the mind like clouds across the sky. What shapes experience are the thoughts accepted repeatedly, emotionally, and naturally. Those become assumptions. Those become identity. Identity is perhaps the most powerful assumption of all. Who do you believe you are? Not who you wish to become. not who others expect you to be. Who are you convinced you already are? Do you secretly identify as someone who struggles? Do you quietly expect rejection before introducing yourself? Do you automatically assume that success belongs to people with better connections, better backgrounds, or better luck? If so, these assumptions silently influence countless decisions every single day. Without realizing it, you hesitate where confidence was needed. You remain silent when your voice should be heard. You settle for less because you assume more is unavailable. Life responds not only to what you desire, but also to what you consistently identify with. The remarkable truth is that assumptions can be changed, not through pretending, not through denying present circumstances, but through consciously choosing a different inner conviction and returning to it until it feels familiar. Every transformation begins with permission for Benson to stop identifying with yesterday. Permission to release the story that has followed you for years. Tap prevention to become someone new without waiting for the world's approval. You are not imprisoned by your past assumptions unless you continue agreeing with them. Many people carry beliefs formed during childhood without ever examining them. Perhaps someone told them they were not intelligent enough. Perhaps repeated disappointments convinced them that happiness was temporary. Perhaps criticism slowly became their internal voice. Decades later, they still live according to assumptions they never consciously selected. Yet what was learned can also be unlearned. What was accepted can be replaced. What was assumed can be transformed. Imagine waking tomorrow with the quiet certainty that everything is working in your favor, not because you have seen proof, but because you have accepted it internally. Notice how differently you would interpret challenges. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "How is this preparing me for something greater?" The same circumstance suddenly carries a different meaning because your assumption has changed. Meaning shapes emotion. Emotion shapes behavior. Behavior shapes experience. And experience appears to confirm the original assumption. This is why so many people unknowingly live inside self-created cycles. Someone assumes they are unlovable. They become guarded. Others experience emotional distance. Relationships struggle. The person concludes, "See, I knew I wasn't lovable." Another assumes they are valuable. They communicate openly. They expect kindness. They notice appreciation instead of criticism. Their relationships deepen. They conclude life is full of wonderful people. The outer experiences differ because the inner assumptions differ. There is tremendous freedom in realizing that your consciousness is not fixed. It is creative, flexible, responsive, alive. You are not required to carry yesterday's identity into tomorrow's future. You may choose again, one assumption at a time, one conviction at a time, one quiet decision at a time. Transformation rarely announces itself with fireworks. More often it begins with a whisper that says, "Perhaps I have been believing the wrong story." That whisper changes everything, because once you question an old assumption, you create space for a new one. The mind naturally seeks consistency. Once a new assumption is accepted, your perception begins organizing itself around it. You notice conversations that encourage you. You recognize opportunities previously ignored. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You interpret uncertainty differently. People often call these coincidences, but perhaps they are reflections, the invisible becoming visible, the assumed becoming experienced. There is immense power in quiet certainty. It does not need to argue. It does not seek constant validation. It does not demand immediate proof. It simply remains faithful to the chosen assumption until reality gradually echoes it back. The greatest obstacle is impatience. Many plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow to check whether it is growing. Then they conclude nothing works, but every natural process unfolds according to its own rhythm. You would never plant a tree in the morning and expect shade by evening. Likewise, assumptions deepen through consistent acceptance. Every day you return to them, every day you feel them, every day you think from them, instead of merely thinking about them. There is a profound difference between wishing for confidence and assuming you are confident, between hoping for abundance and assuming abundance belongs to you, between dreaming of peace and assuming peace is your natural state. One keeps fulfillment forever in the future. The other begins living from fulfillment now. This inner shift changes everything. When you assume peace, your decisions become calmer. When you assume wisdom, your choices become clearer. When you assume strength, challenges lose much of their power to intimidate you. Your assumption quietly becomes your atmosphere. Others begin sensing it before you even speak, not because you are pretending, but because conviction naturally expresses itself. The most extraordinary part of this principle is that it asks you to become inwardly what you desire outwardly. If you seek respect, become inwardly respectful of yourself. If you seek abundance, become inwardly grateful as though supply already surrounds you. If you seek love, become inwardly convinced that you are worthy of receiving and expressing it. The outer world often follows the emotional blueprint established within. This is not blind fantasy. It is disciplined imagination joined with unwavering conviction. The imagination is far more influential than many realize. Everything humanity has ever built existed there first. Every masterpiece, every innovation, every city, every work of art began as an unseen image before becoming physical reality. Your life follows the same pattern. You live first inwardly, then outwardly. Unfortunately, many people use imagination only to rehearse fear. They imagine failure before interviews, conflict before conversations, loss before opportunity, embarrassment before action. Then they wonder why anxiety feels so convincing. Imagine using the same creative power differently. Imagine rehearsing confidence. Imagine feeling gratitude before receiving. Imagine success before achievement. Imagine harmony before conversation. Your emotional state begins adapting to these assumptions long before physical evidence arrives. Soon your actions naturally align with them. This alignment is what creates lasting transformation. No one else can choose your assumptions for you. Family may influence them, society may encourage them, past experiences may reinforce them, but ultimately, consciousness remains your responsibility. Each day offers countless opportunities to choose again. When doubt appears, you may acknowledge it without accepting it as identity. When fear whispers, you may hear it without making it your truth. When circumstances seem discouraging, you may remember that appearances often reflect yesterday's assumptions rather than today's decision. This understanding gives remarkable patience. Instead of reacting to every temporary appearance, you remain loyal to your chosen inner state. Eventually, the old reflection fades. The new reflection appears, not because reality suddenly became generous, but because consciousness accepted a new pattern. You become living proof that transformation always begins within. Perhaps the greatest gift of all is realizing that no external authority controls your inner world unless you surrender it. Circumstances may challenge you. People may misunderstand you. Delays may test your resolve. Yet one can decide what you assume about yourself except you. Guard that privilege carefully. Feed your mind with assumptions worthy of the future you desire. Speak to yourself with the respect you seek from others. Expect goodness without becoming naive. Expect growth without fearing mistakes. Expect abundance without worshipping possessions. Expect love without abandoning self-respect. Little by little, these assumptions become your character. Character becomes your way of living. Your way of living shapes your destiny. One day you may look back and realize that the greatest turning point in your life was not a dramatic event witnessed by the world. It was a silent decision made in the privacy of your own consciousness. A decision to stop agreeing with limitation. A decision to stop identifying with fear. A decision to stop allowing yesterday's assumptions to dictate tomorrow's possibilities. From that moment forward, life began responding to a different version of you. Not because the universe suddenly changed its rules, not because luck finally arrived, but because you accepted a new truth about yourself and remained faithful to it until the invisible became visible. Always remember this. Every day you are assuming something. The only real question is whether those assumptions are serving the life you truly desire or quietly holding it back. Choose them deliberately. Protect them faithfully. Live from them consistently. For the assumptions you embrace today are quietly becoming the experiences you will call reality tomorrow.